Chapter 31. This is a talent. Hi, let me introduce myself. I'm Blue River of Blue Brook Guild. My main account is Blue Bridge Spring Snow. Right after accepting the friend request, the other party messaged him. He didn't say any "you there" nonsense and directly introduced himself. He could tell that this was a very self-confident person. Hi, Yishu simply replied. After all, he had been a part of the Glory community for 10 years. He recognized the name of one of the three great guilds, Blue Brook Guild. As for Blue Bridge Spring Snow, Yishu didn't really know about this player. If it was Huang Shaoshan and his sword Saint Troubling Rain, then Yishu knew a bit more. Blue River clearly didn't know that he was dealing with an expert more skilled than he was. After all, his Blue Bridge Spring Snow's name could have already intimidated many in the gaming community. Blue River confidently believed that the other side knew who he was. As a result, he advanced a step and said, "What are you doing, brother?" Clearing, Yishu didn't stick around to chat. At the same time, Lord Grim and Chasing Haze already entered the Green Forest. "Oh, which dungeon?" Blue River asked. "Green Forest." Blue River was dazed for 5 seconds. Afterwards, he guessed what he felt was the only possibility: carrying a friend? "Kind of," Yishu said. "Oh, we're missing a member for Frost Forest. Are you interested in joining, brother?" Blue River informed. "Oh, why me?" Yishu asked. "Why you?" This question made him sigh with sorrow. This question had come up from a while back, from a full 1 day ago. At first, Lord Grimm's party stole 2 Spider Cave first clears, making Blue Brook Guild lose a lot of face. Everyone felt quite angry. But after asking about Lord Grim and his team's situation, Blue Brook Guild discovered a few abnormal matters. A member in this guy's team, who first cleared with him, had unexpectedly slandered him previously. That raging Sleeping Moon said that he had been cheated of the hidden boss. Looking at the time of the event, this was when Lord Grim solo killed the Midnight Phantom Cat. The slandering messages said that Lord Grim intentionally caused the death of the rest of the party in order to take the boss for himself. Then, how did this shameless and despicable guy form a party with Sleeping Moon? He didn't know what exactly happened during this process, but this at least said that the party, which first cleared the Spider Cave twice, weren't friends to begin with. They were strangers and were also a random party with internal conflicts. To have such a team steal away 2 first clears, his strength couldn't be so simple. And it was also clear that Lord Grim was this team's focal point. This shameless novice, who had caused the death of the party just for the hidden boss, had unexpectedly been able to be readmitted again. Who was this person? Besides this, there was also one detail that the Blue Brook Guild told them to pay attention to. This unknown team that took 2 Spider Cave first clears had different player orders both times. The first on the list had to be the party's leader. The first time, this party's team leader was still Sleeping Moon. But the second time, the party's leader switched to Lord Grim. Party leader, this status, was extremely serious. He could kick players and assign the player order. And for the party to willingly give this position to a shameless boss-stealing person, what did this mean? All of these indicated their dependence on this player. Without this player, there was no way they could have gotten a first kill. This person was a true talent and had a high possibility of being a talent without a guild. A talent from a guild wouldn't be by themselves in a new server. A talent from a guild also wouldn't be on 24 hours. Blue Brook Guild's players analyzed this through asking about and observing for an entire day. Finally, they came to this conclusion. Because of the saying that it was easy to raise an army of 1,000, but hard to find a good general, this type of person should be actively won over. Only then did Blue River send 18 consecutive friend requests. When he sent the first one, the request was neither accepted nor declined, so it must have been ignored. Blue River decided to keep sending more of them to show his sincerity. In fact, his method succeeded. His 18 consecutive friend requests made the originally ready to ignore Yishu finally accept his friend request. But now, the other side asked him why he searched for him. Blue River, of course, wouldn't give some long and complicated explanation. He only said that they had noticed his 3 first clears in the new 10th server. As a result, they saw him as an expert and hoped they could be friends. To be honest, right now we're preparing to break the Frost Forest clear record, but we're missing a brother like you, who is a peak level expert. If we break the record, we can give up the purple equipment for you, how about it? Our guild only wants the record. Blue River didn't hurry to rope in this player into their guild. Glory had existed for this long. Everyone knew of famous guilds, but this Lord Grim actually didn't care about them. Blue River reckoned that this person was an expert from some guild playing casually in the new server. If not, then he wasn't interested in guilds and an expert from the wilds. If he was the first type, then they couldn't do anything. He certainly wouldn't be roped in. At least, if he was the second type and didn't care about guilds, they still had a chance. As a result, Blue River decided to invite this person to dungeon with them. First, they would become friends. And with everyone being an expert, they would play together happily and then they could easily come to an understanding with him. They first had to see this player's strength though and see whether he was worth being roped in. As for their promise to give him the purple equipment, that was just their show of good faith and bargaining chip. Frost Forest would only reward a level 25 purple equipment at best and that would soon be outclassed. They didn't need to haggle over a low-leveled equipment. Frankly, if the other person was truly a great expert, then he also wouldn't care. But at the moment, it was the biggest bargaining chip they could really give at this stage of the game. Seeing this invitation, Yishu's eyes lit up. He quickly gave Blue River a response, I don't need the purple equipment. If it's possible, I want something else. What? Blue River asked. Uncommon materials, Yishu said. Ha ha, you're very understanding, brother. Blue River could see that the other side wasn't naive. He didn't care about low-leveled equipment. Currently, the most valuable items were these uncommon materials. These materials could be used in the late stages of the game and would never grow outdated. 72 strong spider silk, Yishu offered. No problem, Blue River responded frankly. Although strong spider silk were uncommon materials, beginner dungeons could be cleared with no limit. In addition, even normal bosses had a chance of dropping them and could regard it as very cheap among uncommon materials. And also a white witch's mithril pendant, Yishu said. Okay, I can give them to you now, Blue River replied while smiling. The mithril pendant was similar to the saber Yishu hit off of the skeleton warrior. They were ornamental without any value. Only a girl who liked it would wear it as jewelry. And also White Wolf's sharp fangs, I need 8, Yishu said. This, brother, you need strong spider silk, the mithril pendant, and now sharp fangs. Isn't this a bit too much? Blue River was a little unhappy. Chapter 32, Haggling. White Wolf, White Witch were Frost Forest's hidden boss. The mithril pendant was only an ornamental item so Blue River let it pass without any regrets, but the White Wolf sharp fangs were very valuable. Frost Forest wasn't a part of the beginner village's educational dungeons. Every person could only enter at most 4 times. It was hard to say whether they could meet a hidden boss within those 4 times. Moreover, there was a chance that the hidden boss wouldn't be a White Wolf. If Yishu only wanted these 8 White Wolf sharp fangs, then Blue River wouldn't hesitate to give them up. But as for 72 strong spider silk and 8 White Wolf fangs, Blue River felt this person was a little too greedy and deserved to be called a shameless novice that killed his party for a hidden boss. No matter how good this person's skill was, his personality was no good. Was such a person suitable to be roped into their guild? Blue River had already started hesitating, but Yishu replied neither fast nor slow, too much? Then I don't need the mithril pendant, good enough? Blue River didn't know whether to laugh or cry and quickly replied, brother, we all understand that we didn't care about the mithril pendant, but as for the strong spider silk and White Wolf sharp fang. Then how much is fitting? Yishu asked. Pick one of the 2, Blue River said. This is too hard to pick, Yishu said. You can't have your cake and eat it too, brother, Blue River said sincerely. Then the White Wolf sharp fangs, Yishu said. Okay, Blue River let out a sigh of relief. Some strong spider silk as a small gesture of goodwill too, Yishu said again. Blue River almost threw up blood. How about 40? Yishu asked. Brother, Blue River was somewhat speechless. 30. 25. This is fine, right? Yishu asked. Blue River remained silent for a long time. His hands rested on the keyboard and he couldn't find any suitable words to type. 24. Blue River's heart suddenly softened. This guy had already began reducing the price one by one. For the Grand Blue Brook Guild to haggle over some strong spider silk, how shameful was this? Blue River immediately typed out, fine, we'll settle it at this. Okay. Right when Blue River let out a sigh of relief, he found another message pop up, then you should give a few more mithril pendants, right? I mean, you said you didn't care about them. Blue River fell off his chair with a crash. What was this person? Mithril pendants weren't worth anything, yet he still needed to haggle for them? What do you need these items for? Blue River couldn't understand him. These items are worthless in our eyes, but may be valuable to others, Yishu said. Blue River obviously knew that Yishu was talking about those girls that liked these sort of ornaments. Did this person really want these to pick up girls? If he wanted one, then whatever, but to want so many at once, how many girls did he want? Blue River deeply disdained this person and asked, then how many do you need? I thought you didn't care. Then how about all of them? Yishu said. We don't have that many, only 2, Blue River lied and deeply regretted how he said, didn't care. Indeed, these toys didn't have much value, but they were still uncommon ornaments. Giving a few to the sisters in the guild were a good choice, so just giving them away freely made his heart hurt a little. Quote. Yishu returned a few ellipses, which only made Blue River flushed with anger. His lies really were pulled off extremely clumsily, but he had already said them. Blue River just said thick-skinned, then it's settled? If a hidden boss comes, how do we split it? Yishu asked. Everyone rolls for it, Blue River replied happily. Quote. Ellipses again. Blue River sighed. He wouldn't let a person who tried hard to take advantage of them sudden con them. Rolling seemed fair. But Blue River and the others were all friends. If the lone outsider rolled, then their chances were 4-1. They held a huge advantage. This person clearly understood this point. Ha, we're just kidding. Blue River promptly typed out ha. After killing the hidden boss, we probably won't be able to beat the time record, so we don't want brother to be busy for nothing. Brother, you can pick from the items dropped by the hidden boss first, how about it? Okay, then it's settled, Yishu replied. Then brother, when can you come? We're all waiting at Frost Forest, Blue River said. Oh, wait a moment for me to finish this dungeon, Yishu said. Okay, Blue River nodded his head. He took a look at Yishu in his friend list. Brother, don't you want to change classes first? No need. I'll go like this. Blue River was startled. This. Let's not talk for now, I need to hurry up and finish this dungeon, Yishu replied. As a result, Blue River closed the chat in silence. Thinking over the past and future, he felt something wasn't right. He carefully pondered for a long time and then suddenly slapped his thigh. Think about what? His purpose was to dungeon with this guy in order to make friends with him. But in the end, he kept haggling over the rewards, which made the situation completely different. It made it seem like he was inviting him to work for them. Did the Great Blue Brook Guild fall so low as to hire mercenaries to do their work? Thinking of this, Blue River suddenly felt regret over his haggling over those rewards and felt as if had given them away for free. But suddenly, he thought of the conditions for these items, breaking the clear record. Blue River suddenly stared blankly. Missing a person, breaking a record, those were all excuses. Their Blue Brook Guild had brought a total of 40 experts to the new server. How could they not be able to form a full party? Missing a person was just a reason for them to invite him over. As for breaking a record, that was just a way to have everyone fight for the same goal and connect more easily. To be honest, Blue River didn't think that inviting a person would be able to let them clear a record. Shortly after 12 in the morning, the dungeon record had been broken. Blue River had already led a party of Blue Brook Guild's strongest experts into the Frost Forest 3 times, but had kept a steady disparity between their record and Herb Garden's record. If this new person really could help them beat a record, then wouldn't his strength be better than their guild's elites? Blue River felt that Lord Grimm was a talent, but he didn't feel that he was an even stronger talent than their guild's elite. But in the end, he had seriously haggled over the clearing rewards. Was it worth it? He was only level 20 and hadn't changed classes yet either. Could such a person break a new clear record? Blue River, are you done contacting him? Right at this moment, Blue River's teammate Boundboat asked. I've invited him. He'll be here in a moment. Who's going to give up their position? Blue River said to the party. Oh, then I'll rest for a bit then, someone said. After Blue River said, okay, this player left the party. The rest of them sat outside of the dungeon's entrance waiting for Lord Grimm's Imperial chariot to arrive. Blue River still felt hesitant in his heart. Chapter 33, he's here to make a fool of himself, right? After quickly killing off the Midnight Phantom Cat, he picked up 3 Midnight Cat fingernails. Adding on to his original 6, he now had a total of 9. He had already reached what he wanted, so he felt extremely gratified. Apart from this, Yishu also gathered 4 Midnight Cat Claws. He didn't need these, but there were people that did. After he helped them break the clear record, he believed that they wouldn't refuse to give the items that he haggled for. Yishu thought of this and let Lord Grimm leave the dungeon. He directly logged out of the game for chasing Haze. He rested for 10 minutes to recover from the critically ill state. Then, he returned to Beginner Village and learned a few skills using up all of his 1255 skill points. Usually, players only had 1250 skill points when they reached level 20. But Lord Grimm had obtained a skill book that gave him 5 points, so he had a bit more. After learning new skills, he immediately left the Beginner Village and officially stepped into Glory's mainland. Starting from here, the system wouldn't help split the crowd. The areas surrounding Frost Forest were packed with players. A lot of dungeons in Glory didn't have a single fixed entrance. For example, in Frost Forest, the entire forest was a dungeon. It could be entered from any direction. Which side are you guys on? I've arrived at the surrounding areas of Frost Forest. Quote, the areas outside of Frost Forest were bustling with liveliness. After leaving Beginner Village, the marketplace gradually grew. The areas outside Frost Forest became the first market. A lot of people established a place here and started a business. While Yishu walked, he randomly looked into 2 stalls. The prices were all a mess. Inexperienced players were afraid to sell low and suffer losses, so they all priced high. Experienced players wouldn't sell any uncommon materials. They would only sell equipment level 20 and under. But these equipment would be seen by new players who only completed quests to level up the whole way. After all, most quests only gave green equipment, which were lower than blue equipment by 1 grade. Players like Lord Grimm, who had cleared dungeons to level up the whole way, they already had a whole set of blue equipment. After quickly glancing at a few stalls and not finding anything, Blue River had already replied to Yishu's message telling him their coordinates. Yishu rushed there at once. In a moment, Blue River's team saw the name Lord Grimm and all 4 sucked in their breath. The first expert that they aroused their interest in the 10th server was too stylish. He had a set of mismatched equipment of all different styles. What the heck was this? The 4 stared dumbstruck when they identified Lord Grimm's equipment. Glory didn't have any identifying or checking the player's profile function. It all relied on a player's naked eyes to identify the equipment by looking at the equipment's model and details. On Lord Grimm's body were the 5 different types of armor: cloth, leather, light, heavy, and plate armor. This type of style could be seen frequently in Beginner Village, but wearing it in Glory's mainland was extremely weird because those that left Beginner Village were all level 20 and had already changed classes. After changing classes, it wasn't that equipment couldn't be worn randomly, but because each class had their own equipment that they were proficient in. As a result, normal players would choose the types of equipment that their class was proficient in. Occasionally, they might wear a few different typed equipment because of special requirements. But players like Lord Grimm, who had their entire body filled with equipment from all 5 types, truly didn't exist. The 4 sat there at a loss. Yishu had already brought Lord Grimm beside them and said, "Hello, hello," to test his mic. "I can hear you," Blue River said. Hi everyone, Yi Shu greeted. Hi. I'll introduce us. Bound Boat, Flower Lantern, Thundering Light are all elite experts from Blue Brook Guilds. Blue River introduced the other 3 party members. Hi everyone. Could you guys wait a bit longer? Sorry about this, Yi Shu said this and his character stopped moving. Taking advantage of the fact that Lord Grimm still hadn't joined the party, they began crazily typing out ridicule in their party's channel. You didn't find the wrong person, right? Flower Lantern asked. Nonsense. He hasn't class changed yet, Thundering Light asked. He said he would soon. If he's like this, can he help us break the record? Flowering Lantern doubted. If we can't, then we can't. The main purpose is to see this person's background, Blue River said. The rest we don't know, but I know his ID's background, Thundering Light said. What? Lord Grimm means that he doesn't want the players to laugh. He's here to make a fool of himself, right? Thundering Light ridiculed. TL note, another way to translate Lord Grimm is gentlemen, don't laugh. Everyone, don't judge people by their appearances. This player still hasn't changed classes, so wearing equipment like this is still normal. Blue River also didn't know what to say, so he made up a reason for himself. For Lord Grimm to mix and match all of his equipment, even he didn't understand. During all of his years in Glory's mainland, he had never seen anyone dress so boldly and freely. This player didn't class change. Does he want to play as an unspecialized character? Bound Boat, who hadn't said a word the entire time, suddenly started talking. He was a considerably old player and knew that there was once a period when unspecialized characters were popular. Unspecialized player? That's of the past. Wasn't that because level 50 awakening quests hadn't been made yet, so they couldn't continue leveling? Flower Lantern wasn't as old as Bound Boat, but he also had experienced much and knew of such a time. At that time, on the opening of Glory's 3rd new server, Glory increased the level cap for the first time. The original level 50 cap had increased to 55. And in order for characters to level past 50, they had to complete a class awakening quest. Unspecialized characters didn't have an awakening quest, so their level cap stayed at 50. 5 levels was only a small difference in terms of equipment and skills, but that was only the beginning. As the level cap increased higher and higher, the gap between unspecialized characters and specialized classes would continuously increase. Everyone understood that staying as an unspecialized character had no meaning. Could it be that he wants to play till level 50 before changing classes? Flower Lantern said. Then wouldn't he lack attribute points playing like that? Thundering Light was unconvinced. Every class had different attribute growths. The difference in attributes between a level 50 Blade Master and a level 50 Elementalist without equipment were obvious at a glance. Unspecialized characters would naturally grow differently from other classes. When they hit level 50 and then changed classes, would their attributes lost from levels 20 to 50 be repaired? Who knows? Are there still people who care about this issue? Flower Lantern said. Everyone fell silent. They were all experts, elite experts, but they truly never did pay attention to this issue. They never needed to. Who wouldn't change classes at level 20? They had never seen this type of person in all of their years. Why are we guessing? Let's just directly ask him. Flower Lantern immediately walked up to Lord Grimm and said, Brother, if you're not going to change classes, then are you planning to play as an unspecialized character? No response. Brother, you there, Flower Lantern yelled. He said to wait, just a moment ago. He might have left, Blue River said. If he's an unspecialized character, then is he carrying weapons from every class? Thundering Light curiously circled around Lord Grimm 2 times. At this moment, Lord Grimm's hands were empty, not carrying a weapon. This was because the weapon Myriad Manifestation Umbrella had already been taken by Yi Shu and put into the equipment editor. The weapon no longer showed its original appearance. Instead, it showed a blueprint, which the editor had automatically extracted. The Myriad Manifestation Umbrella was extremely complicated, showing several pages of the design on screen. Currently, Yi Shu was carefully taking out the Midnight Phantom fingernails and carefully bringing them to the pointed ends of the umbrella ribs on the Myriad Manifestation Umbrella blueprint. Chapter 34. Some more damage. 1, 2, 3. Yishu's face didn't show that usual half-dead, dejected state. His two eyes didn't blink and his expression showed a look of extreme concentration. His steady right hand dragged the midnight cat fingernails in one by one. After putting in 8 without a mistake, Yishu let out a small sigh of relief. He shook his right hand and chose the blueprint showing a flipped-over umbrella. He once again, bit by bit, took out the runner on the shaft that linked together the 8 umbrella ribs. The model of the runner was elaborate, but after Yishu took it out, he quickly put it aside next to the dark opal. After clicking on the Copy option, a progress bar jumped out. The dark opals continuously whirled around, getting polished. After the progress bar finished, it transformed into the exact same shape as the Myriad Manifestation Umbrella's runner. The runner was put back into the editor's data library while the duplicated dark opal runner was reassembled into the Myriad Manifestation Umbrella. When he inserted the 8 umbrella ribs into the runner, each one let out a faint click sound. After inserting them all in, the design shown on the blueprint had already returned to the umbrella's original appearance. Yishu carefully inspected it and then finally let out a sigh of relief. Looking towards the blueprint in the editor, Yishu lit a cigarette and stared out in a daze, his mind wandering. The best feature of self-made equipment lied in the research on the blueprints and the necessary materials in the editor. The research for the Myriad Manifestation Umbrella had already been finished for the most part and he already had a basic idea of what to do with the remaining incomplete parts. Currently, the only completely unknown parts were the upgrades needed for level 50 and up. After all, when the research and making of the Myriad Manifestation Umbrella was done, the highest level for glory was only level 50. Yishu clicked on the Confirm to create the weapon in the editor. Another progress bar appeared in the editor animated the creation process on the blueprint. When the progress bar completed and the animation stopped, a few of the modifications could already be seen. The sharp pointed ends of the umbrella ribs were now the 8 midnight cat fingernails. Yishu closed the editor and returned to the game. He opened up Lord Grimm's inventory and looked at the changes in the Myriad Manifestation Umbrella's attributes. With a move of the mouse, Lord Grimm shook the umbrella in his hands and the umbrella formed into a battle lance shape. The lance tip and the 8 midnight cat fingernails could be used to stab and hook. A cold glint reflected off of the tip, displaying its exceptional sharpness. Looking again at the Myriad Manifestation Umbrella's attributes, they had impressively changed. Myriad Manifestation Umbrella, Lance Form, Level 15. Weight, 2.3 kilograms, Attack Speed, 5. Physical Attack, 290, Magic Attack, 220. Compared to the original umbrella, the magic attack hadn't increased by much, but the physical attack had increased by an impressive 110 points. It was 5 to 25 levels better than purple, blue, green, white lances of the same level. Lord Grimm's sudden flipping of his weapon made the surrounding Blue River and others jump in surprise. After looking at it, none of elite experts could recognize the battle lance. "Brother, you're back." Blue River went up to talk and sent him a party invitation. "Yup," Yishu responded and joined the party. "Why don't you join our guild first? This way the dungeon clear record will be under our guild's name." Blue River sent him an invitation. Guilds could be made after players left the beginner village at level 20. Blue Brook Guild had naturally prepared and set it up right after leaving the beginner village. Understood, Yishu accepted and became a Blue Brook Guild member. Only if a party, with 5 members of the same guild, broke a record, would the record be under their guild's name. "Then let's start." "Hold on," Yishu said this and looked at everyone's equipment to determine their classes. Blue River, Swordsman Class Blade Master, Purple Level 20 Flaming Sun, a Light Element Sword. Bound Boat, Priest Class Cleric, Purple Level 20 Saint's Cross. Flower Lantern, Priest Class Knight, Purple Level 20 Guardian of Justice, a Battle Axe. Thundering Light, Mage Class Elementalist, Purple Level 20 Copper Staff. Besides weapons, the 4 players' equipments were mostly blue equipment with a few purple equipment in certain places. All of the equipment suited their respective classes. It had only been a day since the opening of the new server, yet their equipments were already at such a level. This clearly wasn't from their luck, but rather from their guild's power. Is there something else? Flower Lantern was starting to get impatient. If we want to break the record, then I suggest that we change up the classes a bit, Yishu said. Change what? Blue River asked. We don't need the cleric, Yishu directly said. Bound Boat, the cleric, hadn't yet said anything when Flower Lantern shouted, don't need a cleric? What a joke. Drop the cleric and add a high DPS class, Yishu said calm and unhurried. Brother, isn't your proposal a bit unreasonable? Blue River was a bit more patient. The pressure will be a bit big, but everyone here's an expert. If you just concentrate on your positioning and dodging, then there's no need for heals, Yishu said. We never needed heals. The heals are for the MT1. Yeah, so, what I'm saying is the MT isn't needed. The knight has low DPS too, so we should also change him for more damage. F***CK, Flower Lantern had just come to Bound Boat's aid, but he didn't think that, in the blink of an eye, he would also be kicked off, no MT. When there's only small monsters fine, but what about against the boss? Who's going to control the aggro, you? Yup, Yishu said. The F***CK does your yup mean? Flower Lantern became extremely angry. I'm going to control the aggro, Yishu said. The entire team was speechless. Now that Yishu was in their party and in their guild too, the four couldn't privately whisper to each other. Blue River furrowed his eyebrows and said, so you're saying that all 5 party members should have high DPS? Right, this is the fastest clearing party, Yishu said. Did you do this in Beginner Village? Flower Lantern yelled. It doesn't matter what dungeon, all DPS is obviously the fastest, Yishu said. That's true, but the problem is an all DPS team can't finish the dungeon, Blue River said. Of course it's possible. Only, I hope that you'll let me lead, Yishu said. Blue River finally felt as if he had been shot by a gun. After kicking 2 people, this guy also wanted his leader position. Fine, Flower Lantern suddenly shouted, let's see how good you are. Bound Boat, leave the party and call for others. After speaking, Flower Lantern left the party, but Bound Boat was still hesitant. Aside, Thundering Light rushed up to Flower Lantern and yelled, hey, you guys are leaving the party, so that you won't lose out when we die, right? What a loser. The fight hasn't even started yet. Flower Lantern disdained Thundering Light and urged Bound Boat, hurry up and leave. I've already called people to come. One main tank. Chapter 35, One Wave Rush 1. Clearly, Bound Boat was not as impulsive as Flower Lantern. He stayed in the party and didn't move. He sent Blue River a message, what should I do? What do you think? Blue River replied. I'm pretty curious. I just have some regrets because I've been kicked out, so I can't see it with my own eyes, Bound Boat. Doesn't it seem like he's just talking big? Blue River said. It doesn't look like it. Maybe it's because he hasn't changed classes yet that he dares to not bring a cleric. If it's urgently needed, he can also heal, Bound Boat said. Yeah, I don't think he's here just to waste everyone's time. Let's try it out, Blue River said. Okay, then I'm leaving then. Bound Boat left the party. Returning Cloud come over. Most of the guild has already reached the dungeon entry limit. Flower Lantern said. Returning Cloud had originally been an elite member of their party. But because Lord Grimm took the spot, he left. Now, he would be returning to the party. Filling in the last spot would be hard though. All of those in the elite group were experts who actively looked to do dungeons. Besides Blue River and the others, who intentionally waited, those who hadn't reached the dungeon limit were currently doing their last run. In the end, the experts, who saw Flower Lantern's call, curiously chatted. They all knew that Flower Lantern's party already had the guild's 3 highest DP sirs. If all 3 were online, then what was he calling out for? Are there any players who can still run Frost Forest? The more damage the better. Hurry up and come to help us beat the clear record. Flower Lantern didn't explain and only messaged this in the guild's channel. I'll come, finally, someone replied. Flower Lantern saw that it was Lunar Grace. This was a girl. In the elite group, there was a considerably low number of female experts, so these female players were treated as treasures. Parties fought all over for them and brought the girl over to clear a dungeon as if she were there for their social welfare. As a result, the girl experts never had a fixed party. Grace, then you come. Flower Lantern didn't say anything more and told the rest that she was coming. Returning Cloud and Lunar Grace quickly arrived and joined Blue River's party. Returning Cloud was this party's original member, so he knew the situation. Lunar Grace, on the other hand, was somewhat at a loss. This party didn't have an MT or a healer and had an unfamiliar person too. Class, he didn't have one? Oh great God, are these two suitable? Flower Lantern said to Lord Grimm sarcastically. Thus, Yishu really did look at them carefully. Yup, they're fine. Returning Cloud was also an elementalist. His weapon was a purple level 20 Vivid Staff. As level 20 staffs, Vivid Staff and the Copper Staff attributes were about the same. Their difference was their additional properties. One of them added 1 level to Flame Explosion, while the other added 1 level to Frost Ball. From these staffs, it could be seen that the elemental paths they took as elementalists were different. As for Lunar Grace, she was a witch. This was another choice among the magic classes. They were known as the scientists among mages. They used large amounts of magic items to do battle and possessed a certain close combat strength. Lunar Grace used a purple level 20 crystal wand, which wasn't a broom, the weapon exclusively for witches. As a result, Yishu couldn't tell from her weapon what skill path she took, so he asked, what path? Dark style path, Lunar Grace said. Have you added any to Dal Shururu? Yishu asked. Dal Shururu was a type of witch skill that taunted monsters. Auto level up, Lunar Grace replied. Auto level up meant that when the skill could be leveled, a skill point would immediately be used to level it up. Oh, that's great, Yishu said. Is God satisfied? Flower Lantern asked. Yup, it's good. Let's get ready to go, Yishu said. Lunar Grace still didn't completely understand the situation. In the end, she heard Blue River announce, everyone, listen. For this dungeon, Lord Grimm will lead. You're leading? Lunar Grace was extremely surprised. Yup, Yishu said. Why? Lunar Grace couldn't understand. For the clear record, Yishu said and had already walked towards the dungeon. Hey, Blue River yelled for him, but he had already disappeared. Clearly, he already entered the dungeon. Blue River was sad. They had to discuss their plan outside of their dungeon. After they entered the dungeon, the timer would start. At that moment, explaining would just be a waste of time. God has already entered. What are you all waiting for? Hurry up and go tremble at his might, O mortals. Flower Lantern laughed out loud. When I come, I'll be looking for you. Blue River cursed and promptly entered the dungeon along with the others. Frost Forest monsters were green-skinned blue-nosed goblins. There were long-ranged, melee, and even magic ones. Clearly, they weren't as boring in pattern following as the ones in Beginner Village. In addition, these goblins all looked the same, so until they attacked, there was no way of telling what type they were. After Blue River and the others entered the dungeon timer officially started. No one foolishly sat around the entrance. They rushed forward while hearing Yishu lead. Having a witch will make things much easier. Wheel One Wave Rush. Blue River jumped up in fright. How do we use One Wave Rush? You don't understand what One Wave Rush means? Yishu was even more astonished than Blue River. Of course Blue River knew. In Glory, One Wave Rush meant that all of the monsters would be pulled and then completely killed in one turn. But this method could only be used when the party level was much higher than the dungeons. They also needed a powerful mount. They had never heard of a one-wave rush done by parties at the same level as the dungeon. One-wave rushes. I understand. I just don't understand how you're going to use one-wave rush, Blue River said. I'll pull the monsters. Then, Dal Shururu to group up the monsters. Raging Flames and Blizzard to attack. Then, it's like you didn't say anything. It's fine, you go start then. Wheel One Wave Rush. Blue River's cheeks streamed with tears. He knew the basic course of actions, but the pivotal point lay on the player pulling the monsters. If he couldn't bring back a wave of monsters alive, then it'd be a problem. In the end, this person played down the 4 words, "I'll pull the monsters," and skimmed over the most pivotal point. Blue River knew that saying any more would only waste their time. The other 3 looked at Blue River and had the same thoughts. They all accepted their fate and a waterfall of cold sweat washed over their faces. In the end, Yishu typed out a smile and yelled, "I'm going." Lord Grimm ran out. Blue River and the others looked at his back and felt the same feeling as if he were a hero that would never return. "I have to say, he's quite heroic. I admire him," Thundering Light ridiculed him. "Everyone keep up," a shout came from in front of them. The 4 with the waterfall face kept up with him. They saw that Lord Grimm had already approached 2 goblins. One of them started throwing rocks, while the other started casting ice arrow. The 4 all said together, "What a tragedy. We start and there's already 2 long-ranged ones." The rock and ice arrow flew out, but Lord Grimm seemed to just shake twice and the rock and ice arrow flew past him. D** Minnesota, could it be? Z-Shake, Blue River cried out.